Well, Shakespeare's Sonnet 127 is the first of the so-called Dark Lady sonnets, although it should be mentioned that the phrase dark lady does not appear in any of these sonnets. Neither does the word lady. But in these poems, the speaker praises a mistress who's dark-haired and dark-eyed, and in this sonnet, he praises her who doesn't meet the ideal standard of beauty, which is fairness or lightness, or whiteness, really. During this time, it was a class distinction of beauty. Beautiful people were fair-skinned, light-skinned, that is to say. They didn't work in the fields, they stayed inside, and peasants were typically dark-skinned. Now, there's a question as to whether the subject of this poem is a black woman. It's quite possible. There were Africans in London at the time, but as far as what's in the poetry, we're just not sure. Anyway, in this sonnet, the speaker makes an argument that the standard of beauty should no longer be fair. He says, "In the old age, black was not counted fair, or if it were, it bore not beauty's name. But now is black beauty's successive heir, and beauty slandered with a bastard shame." So just like Sonnet 1, which began the so-called young man sonnets or the fair youth sonnets, this sonnet here is also talking about beauty and heir and the propagation of beauty. From fairest creatures we desire increase, that thereby beauty's rose might never die, says Sonnet 1. Well, now, as we're moving into the so-called Dark Lady sonnets, a similar theme is being picked up on. Black was not counted fair, or if it were, it bore not beauty's name. If blackness was not counted fair, then at least it wasn't called beauty. But now is black beauty's successive heir. Notice the metaphor here of lineage. And beauty slandered with a bastard shame. What beauty? The idea of conventional fair beauty or light beauty. Now, why is this beauty slandered with a bastard shame? He tells us, but notice here, he tells us in the second quatrain, but notice here this metaphor of succession. The successive heir is the one who has the right to inheritance, the right to name and parentage, because that heir is the blood heir. But the bastard shame is the one who is not heir. And the bastard shame here is the old beauty, the old light beauty. Now, the black beauty is the actual successive heir in this story. This is a kind of creation story in a way, like Sonnet 20. Helen Bindler makes this connection, but you might also think about other creation poems like Herbert's The Pulley and many others. So this gives an account of something in a defense of something. In this case, black beauty. For since each hand hath put on nature's power, fairing the foul with art's false borrowed face. Now notice the excessive stress here and the alliteration. Fairing the foul with art's false borrowed face. What does that mean? Just to get a prose sense of this. Fairing, the idea of fairness, counted fair, now turned into a verb here. Fairing what is foul with art's false borrowed face. Notice pick up on the language of antithesis. There's two ideas being contrasted here. The first is nature's power and art's false borrowed face. Why are those opposites? Well, he's explaining why beauty is now slandered as a bastard shame. Because those who were born not fair by nature, that is not beautiful, can make themselves beautiful by cosmetics, by art, by falseness. So they could put on a face. Back then you could paint your face white. That was kind of the makeup of the day, the cosmetics. Sweet beauty hath no name. Here's the idea of the parentage again, building on this metaphor of lineage and heritage. Sweet beauty hath no name, no holy bower, but is profaned, if not lives in disgrace. How is it profaned? Because now people can fake beauty. They can fake fairness. And so fairness is cheapened. If anyone can be fair, if anyone can be beautiful, then beauty is no longer beauty, he's saying here. Therefore, or for this reason, since women counterfeit their fair beauty by cosmetics, for this reason my mistress' eyes are raven black. Her eyes so suited, and they mourners seem at such who, not born fair, no beauty lack, slandering creation with a false esteem. Notice here, picking up on themes at the end of the third quatrain, which were established in the first and second. False art, here false esteem. And the raven black eyes are black so because they mourn for the death of fair beauty, or not so much the death of fair beauty, but the artifice of fair beauty, which anyone can put on with art instead of with nature. So, yet so they mourn the eyes, yet so they mourn becoming of their woe, that every tongue says beauty should look so. And so they mourn with such a beauty becoming their woe, meaning that it's very attractive, so that everyone says that beauty should be black. And so this is the idea that the old standard of beauty, the fairness, is so worn out and cheapened that now a new heir to beauty, a black beauty, has come to establish a new standard of beauty. It's a socio-aesthetic ideal that's being challenged here by the poem. And that's what's interesting, and the speaker will pick that up in the later sonnets to come and develop it and even change it, as we'll see. So this was the first of the so-called Dark Lady sonnets. We're going to be reading some more in the future. Thanks for watching, and until next time.